Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Houston Sharpshooters Draft Glory franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we took on the Colorado Avalanche in the first round of the playoffs, and for the first time in franchise history, we managed to win a series. This time it was via sweep, and we are off to the second round against the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the Jets are going to be a much tougher team because they finished 48, 29, and 5 on the season, while the Colorado Avalanche had the exact same record as us during the season, which is 43, 33, and 6. And we've been a really hot team in this second half of the season, so I'm really hoping that we can manage to keep it up against a tough Winnipeg Jets team and get to a conference final versus Edmonton or Chicago. If we're out in the second round, it's going to be kind of bad to an extent because we do have some contracts up this offseason that are going to cost us a lot of money. So anyways, before we get into this second round matchup, I will quickly show you guys the Winnipeg Jets lines again, just in case you forget. And there was no comments in the last episode as of this recording, so there's no comments to go over, but at least that will speed up the process in getting into this second round matchup, which I'm pretty excited to see what we could do against this team. But as you can see, this Winnipeg Jets team is much better than the Colorado Avalanche. They have Kyle Connor, Matthias Mueller, who they drafted 12th overall in 2023, and David Pastrnak, so they have some really good goal scorers on that top line. Second line-wise, they have Simon Holmstrom with Marcus Vidicek, Kip Lowry, who is another prospect I guess they got in the first round, who doesn't seem like he panned out really. I feel like he should have had top 6 potential at some point. Now then again, this guy does have some good stats still for a 81 overall, so he's not that bad of a player. Third line has Jerome Caron, also Cole Perfetti, and Nick Ritchie, so you can see their center depth is really good. And fourth line has Boris Kachuk, Mason Shaw, and Ty Dellandrea. And then you make our way to their defensive core. They have Jacob Chikrin with Philip Broberg, Timothy Liljegren, and Jake Bean, and in a top 6 pairing of Bjorn Fott and Kokkonen. So a pretty good team for the most part in terms of offense and defense. And then you get into their goaltending. They do have Spencer Knight, who has been pretty much one of the best goalies in this franchise mode at this point. As you can see, he's had multiple 40-win seasons consecutively, and in this most recent season, he still had like 8 shutouts, which is ridiculous, and he also had his best goals against in save percentage, but he had less wins than he did the year before, which is kind of interesting. And then also so far in the playoffs, he's been really good. He's got a 4-1-1 record with a .933 save percentage and a 2.11 goals against average. So he's definitely going to be pretty tough to score on, I would assume. And if for some reason he goes down with an injury, they don't really have a good backup. So I'm really hoping that Spencer Knight does get injured, which is kind of a bad thing to say, but hopefully that is the case. And then depth-wise, you can see they have Kanaziev, they have Kote, and Gens. So it's kind of an interesting team for the most part. It's kind of weird that they're rocking an 81 on the first line when you have these other guys, but it's still a pretty good team for the most part, and it should be interesting to see if we're actually able to match up good against a team that won 48 games during the regular season. Now, one other thing that we want to take a quick look at is, I believe I showed you guys this in the last episode, but just a comparison of how they did during the regular season as compared to us, and then we'll take a look at playoff-wise as well, see how they've been doing, because I don't know if I checked that in last episode or not. But as you can see, we were both the top 2 teams in our division. They scored the exact same amount of goals as us this season. They allowed less goals, obviously, because of Spencer Knight. Their power play percentage was worse than ours, and our penalty kill was better than theirs. So we technically have better special teams. The only thing we don't beat them at is goals against per game. So hopefully we could somehow score on them, and hopefully they could allow a lot of goals, because that would be pretty nice and uncharacteristic of both of our teams. So that's that. Let's take a quick look at how they are doing in the playoffs, because I don't believe I took a look at this last time, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go to entire league, just sort by wins. I might have taken a look at this actually. I don't remember for sure if I did. But they're scoring 3.33 goals per game. We're scoring 3.5, so a little bit better on that front. We are also doing a little bit better defensively. Then again, we have played less games. Our power play has also been better, and our penalty kill has been worse. So pretty much everything for us has been better this playoff run so far, and except for our penalty kills. So should be interesting to see if we could do good against this Jets team. So anyways, let's get into this second round matchup, and hopefully we can keep the winning vibes going, because we had a really good second half of the season once we got that new head coach in, and then the first round sweeping the Colorado Avalanche was really nice to see, because that was our first ever playoff round win. So hopefully we can win a second one here against a tough Jets team. But here we go, game 1 in Winnipeg, because we don't have home ice advantage this time around. Let's see if we could take a 1-0 series lead here. First period, and we're up 2-1. Let's go. I'll take that for sure. Sea-Doo and Morales score, so that's good to see that the top 6 is scoring, because basically in the first round, I feel like our bottom 6 was more scoring than our top 6, which is kind of weird. Like, our third line was really good, so if we could get our top 6 going here in this round, we definitely have a shot. So yeah, Sea-Doo and Morales score, and then Pasternak scores on the power play to pull the Jets within 1. The shots are 15-12 in favor of us. Second period, and we're up 5-1. Okay, if we're gonna route them in game 1, we better be consistent though, and do that in game number 2 as well, because I feel like usually when you have a really good first game, your team just dries up offensively afterwards, so I don't want that to be the case. But Korostin scores, Kapitanov scores a power play goal, and Jaskalainen scores, so we're kind of ripping Knight to shreds right now. Then again, he could bounce back in next game, but we're up 5-1 going into the third. We should be able to lock this one down and take game 1 easily. Forster makes it 6-1. Forster has been our best player offensively this playoffs, which is kind of weird because I didn't really expect our third line to be popping off like that. But he had a really good first round. He had like 6 points in 4 games. But yeah, hopefully we can continue to score into next game, because I'm kind of worried about it after scoring 6 goals in game 1. And we're going to win 6-1 in Winnipeg, so their fans probably left the game early. The shots were 39-32 in that game as well, so a pretty good effort from our offense and also from goaltending as well in Soderstrom. So Sea-Doo from Kapitanov and Pasquale, Morales from Jaskalainen and Afanasenkov, Korostin from Forster and Pasquale, Kapitanov from Thornton and Teratukin, Jaskalainen from Morales, and Forster from Pasquale and Korostin. Let's take a look at those player stats quickly. Pasquale had 3 assists. Yeah, Pasquale's also been really good this playoff run. Same with Korostin and Forster. Yeah, that third line in general has been carrying the way. Everybody on the team was almost a plus player as well, which is pretty nuts. That means our depth scoring is definitely doing pretty good. And then goalie-wise, yeah, Soderstrom was on point. I really like to see that. 3 stars of game number 1. Soderstrom gets the first star, Forster the second star, and Morales the third. So a pretty good first game of that second round, not first round. Hopefully we can keep that up going into game number 2, because our offense has actually been pretty good in the playoffs so far, because we won game 1 5-3 against Colorado and 4-3 in game 2. And then we had like a combined 5 goals in the last 2 games. So we've been good offensively, we've been good defensively, and we need that just to keep on going. Let's see if we could go up 2-0 on the Jets here and win another game in Winnipeg, or is our offense going to dry out? First period, and we're down 1-0. Okay, yeah, it kind of dried down a little bit after that first period. The shots are 14-8 in favor of the Jets, and they have a 1-0 lead because of a David Pasternak power play goal. So maybe we want to address our penalty kill unit a little bit, because I believe they did score a power play goal last game as well from Pasternak. I could be wrong with that. Second period, and we're down 2-0. Yeah, our offense is drawing up. I might have to make some line changes, but I might not do that unless we lose 2 games in a row. I don't know. But Bjorn Fott makes it 2-0. The shots are 23-15 in favor of the Jets, and we are 1 period away from having a tie series headed back home, which is still not a bad circumstance to be in. So let's see if we could come back here in the third period, see if we could get at least a goal in this game, because it looks like our offenses might be drying up. Okay, Kapitanov scores, and Jaskalainen scores. Okay, never mind. Our offenses came through here in the third period to tie the game up. And then, of course, Kachuk scores for them. They take the lead back, and then Lowry scores, yeah. I knew we were still going to lose the game after scoring 2 goals in the third. It didn't feel like a game that we could win this one. And we're going to lose 4-2 in game 2. The final shots were definitely in their favor as well, 36-27. I wouldn't say it was a terrible game, but like our offense definitely needs to be a little bit better in terms of the first period in that game especially, because it was really quiet up until the third period. So yeah, hopefully we could get our offense going again on home ice. So Kapitanov from Teratukin and Sea-Doo, and Jaskalainen from Thornton and Hedman. So not too bad. Any really badly minus players in that game? Only a -2 for Sedin. Okay. 3 stars in that game, Pasternak, Knight, and Kachuk. So yeah, Spencer Knight definitely bounced back from that terrible first game, as I was expecting, considering good goalies usually could bounce back pretty good. Okay, so I might make a little bit of line changes, even though that was our first loss of the playoffs, just because I don't know. I feel like kind of off that our offense is just going to stop scoring. So I'm going to move Kapitanov back up, move Morales back down, a little small change like that. Third line is going to stay the same. Fourth line has been minus. I don't really know if I want to put in Ferraro. I could. You know what? We're going to take Zubov off and give Ferraro a game in the playoffs just because I don't know. That line looks like it needs a little bit of changing up. So we'll put Ferraro back into the lineup, and I think that's all good and ready to go. Unless I want to change up the defensive core, but there's not really things I could do. Yeah, there's not really much I could do, I don't think. So we'll leave it like that, and we are ready to go for game number 3 on home ice. See if we could win our first home game of the second round, because we've lost our first game in quite a long time. So here we go, game number 3. Let's get that offense rolling like it was in game 1. Come on, boys. Let's see what happens here. First period, we are up 1-0. I'll take that for sure. Kapitanov scores, so moving him to the top line might have helped a little bit. The shots are 11-9 in favor of us, and we're up 1-0. Second period, and we're down 3-2. That's a little bit scary. So Mueller ties the game at 1. Korostin then gave us the lead, but 2 unanswered goals again from the Jets, Shaw and Mueller, and we're down 3-2 going into the third. So not a great game from Soderstrom. 3 goals on 18 shots, and we have 2 goals on 24 shots. Let's see what happens here in the third and see if we can tie this game up. Come on, boys. I don't want to go down 2-1 to the Jets, please. But I kind of felt like our offense was going to dry up after that first game, and it's kind of doing that. Because it always happens, and Jake Bean makes it 4-2 win, and Caroline makes it 5-2. Soderstrom might get DeYank next game. 6-2 now. Yeah, our offense is all of a sudden really quiet. Our defense is trash too. This is not good, because it might mean we end up losing this round, and I don't want to lose a playoff round right now because I want to win a Stanley Cup as fast as we can. So our only goals in that game, Kapitanov from Thornton and Jaskalainen, and Korostin from Pasquale and Teratukin. But once again, a pretty bad game for the team. Well, yeah, I would say a pretty bad game. A lot of -2 players, and most of them are third liners, and I think that's top pairing as well. Janssen ended up playing the last 8 minutes of that game because Soderstrom wasn't that good. So I think we're going to give Janssen next game, which might be a little bit of a risk, considering he's a 77 overall, but maybe Soderstrom needs a little bit of a rest, considering he's let in 10 goals in the last 2 games, which is not that good. It could be our defense as well, but I don't really know. So let's make some adjustments and throw in Janssen, I think, because, yeah, Soderstrom is starting to struggle a little bit again, and Janssen's still been really good, so we're going to give Janssen an opportunity. And Ferraro was not minus in that game. I don't know if I want to keep him in or not. I'll keep him in for now, considering he wasn't minus in that game, and that was a game where a lot of players were minus. Anything else we want to change around with our team? It's really tough to pinpoint little changes to make. Our power play is going to stay the same. Penalty kill we could address a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm going to move Morales down, move Forster up, just try something random like that. A little change maybe will help us out. Okay, so we got Janssen in net, which is kind of a risky thing to do, especially down 2-1. But I do trust him right now that he could maybe get us back in the series, because Soderstrom kind of has been flat the last 2 games. So let's see if we could bounce back from these back-to-back losses and tie the series up, considering we had a really good game 1, but we've been not that good since. Come on, boys. First period, tied at 1. Okay, I'll take that, I guess. Thornton scores first. Ritchie ties the game up. The shots are 12-6 in favor of us, so not a great start from Janssen either. 1 goal on 6 shots. I don't like that they're converting on their opportunities. Second period, and it's 3-2 us. Let's go. I'll take that for sure. Jaskalainen scores to give us the lead. Nick Ritchie again. Who knew Nick Ritchie was such a good goal scorer? And then Yip will give us the lead. The shots are 24-14 in favor of us, and we're up by 1 goal. Let's see if we could lock this one down and get some insurance, please. Penalty kill early in the third. It was a 5-on-3 at one point, and they finally get a power play goal. That's not good. Mason Shaw. Come on, boys. Let's get that next one. Penalty kill again. Stop taking penalties. Thank you. Power play opportunity for us in the final 5 minutes of the game, and we don't convert. And are we going to our first overtime period? Yes, we are. We're going to overtime in game 4. The shots are 30-20 in favor of us. If we don't score here and we lose an OT, we're going to be down 3-1, which is not good. If we score here in overtime, obviously, then we're going to have a tie series, which makes it like a whole new series pretty much at this point. Come on, boys. Who wants to be that OT hero for us on home ice? Score a historic goal for the Sharpshooters. Please, somebody. Korostin, I don't know, penalty kill in overtime. Thank you. And there we go. We're going to score after killing off a penalty, and it's Kapitanov. Let's go. Captain Clutch or whatever. What's his nickname again? El Capitan. There we go. El Capitan wins the game, and we have a tie series up. That's huge. The shots were 36-24 for us in that game, so we definitely outplayed them, but we only win by 1 goal. So Thornton from Teratukin and Yip, Jaskalainen from Thornton and Kapitanov, Yip from Forster and Teratukin, and the game-winning goal, Kapitanov from Jaskalainen and Hedman. Nice. 3 stars in that game, Kapitanov the first star, Jaskalainen the second star, and Nick Ritchie the third. So we have a tie series headed to Winnipeg again, which is good because I didn't want to be down 3-1 headed to Winnipeg because that would not be good. But we are going to be going back to Soderstrom. Let me just make sure he's in net again, just because I gave him a night off just to kind of like rest his head a bit. Janssen's been pretty good as a backup, to be honest. He's not been like the worst goalie or the best goalie in terms of goals against and stuff like that, but he's winning games when he does play. So if Soderstrom struggles ever, we could always just throw him in, and hopefully that could help us out a little bit. And Ferraro has been okay still defensively, helping out that fourth line. Hasn't been a minus player yet so far, and definitely has helped out, I think, Tursenbaev and Sidor a little bit plus-minus wise. So maybe Ferraro is a better player to have in the playoffs, and then Zubov is better to have in the regular season. I don't know. But there we go. Let's get into this next game, into game number 5. See if we could take a 3-2 series lead here, as now we're on the road, and we won game 1 6-1 convincingly, but game 2 in Winnipeg we lost 4-2. So it's kind of up in the air on what's going to happen in this game. So here we go, game number 5. Let's take a 3-2 series lead headed home. That would be really nice. First period, and it's 1-1 again. Okay, I'll take that. Burns scores. I believe that's his first goal in the playoffs. I could be wrong with that. It might be his second or something like that, but he hasn't scored a lot because he's like a playmaker or something like that, or a two-way forward. He's more of just a passing type of guy. Lowry didn't tie the game up late in the period, so it's 1-1 after 1, and they have 17 shots after 1, which is kind of scary. So Soderstrom's trying to do his part in keeping us in this game. We only had 11 shots, but we managed to find 1 goal on night, which is pretty good. Second period, and it's still 1-1. Okay, so this is another tight game just like last game. The shots are now in our favor, 24-22, which is interesting, so we definitely had a better second period than they did. Let's see what happens here in the third period. See if somebody could get the lead here. Come on, boys. Who wants to score that goal for us? And it's Karostin, and we have a 2-1 lead. Let's go. That third line coming through in the clutch again, because that third line was so good in the first round, and it's starting to heat up again in the second round, which is good. Final few minutes of game number 5 here in Winnipeg, and we are going to escape with a 2-1 victory. Let's go. Good bounce back game from, well, actually not bounce back game, good return game from Soderstrom. The shots were 33-33 apiece, but we win by 1 goal and win 2-1. So Burns from Sea-Doo and Morales, that was his first goal of the playoffs, and Karostin from Roach. Karostin's been really good too, surprisingly. 6 goals already for him. So yeah, that third line has definitely been good. Let's just take a look at those player stats. So only 5 players with points. Any minus players? No, because obviously not. And a good save percentage. Yeah, really good game from Soderstrom this to bounce back after not being in the lineup last game. So definitely I'll take that. 3 stars of the game. Soderstrom gets first star, Knight the second star, and Karostin the third. So we have a 3-2 series lead. It's been kind of a back and forth series. We had a 1-0 lead, and they were up 2-1. Now we're up 3-2. Can we close this one out on home ice and head to the conference finals for the very first time in franchise history? That would be really nice if we could, and I really hope we can, because Game 7 in Winnipeg would be probably pretty tough, I would assume. So here we go, game number 6 on home ice. So let's get this done, boys. Let's get those big guns going. First period, we're down 1-0. That's not good. Vidicek scores on Soderstrom. We're out shooting 15-11, but we're down by a goal, so that's not good. Hopefully Soderstrom could bounce back a bit in the second period, and hopefully our offense could find some goals to score on Spencer Knight, because Spencer Knight's probably the reason why they're up 1-0 right now. Second period, and there we go. We have tied the game up. It's Jaskalainen. I don't remember if I made Jaskalainen the captain, but he is always a really good player for us. The shots are 28-22 in favor of us. Can we win this game here in the third period and punch our ticket to the conference finals? Come on, boys. Who wants to score penalty kill? Long-ass penalty kill, and we managed to kill it off, and then we get a goal right after. Let's go, Sedin. I think that's his first goal of the playoffs. We have a 2-1 lead, Final 10 minutes of this game. Can we get some insurance here? Final 5 minutes. And are we going to be punching our ticket to the conference finals? Yes, we are. We managed to knock out the Jets in 6 games, and we're going to the conference finals for the first time in franchise history, and that was a pretty close series for the most part. The last 3 games were all 1-goal games, which is pretty nuts. The shots were 34-33 in favor of the Jets, but we managed to escape with a victory. Another really good game from Soderstrom as well. He kind of struggled a bit in that first period, but he was really good the rest of the way. So Jääskeläinen had 6 from Tertukin and Thornton, and Sedin's first from Pasquale. So Sedin's only playoff goal so far is a game winner. Let's just take a look and see who are the minus players in that game. So Seidu, Burns, and Morales. Okay, so that's the second line, I believe. And then, yeah, another really good performance from Soderstrom, like the exact same stats as he had in the last game. I definitely will take that. He gets first start again, Knight gets the second start again, and Jääskeläinen in the third. So we have won the series in 6 games against the Jets, and we're going to be taking on who in the conference finals? It's the Chicago Blackhawks, who we faced last year. Oh, nice. Because Chicago took us out in 7 games last year, so we kind of know what they're all about unless their lineup has changed. But we will take a look at their lineup after we take a look at their player stats and team stats so far for the playoffs. Just because I'm kind of curious on that first. So, player stats for the playoff runs so far here in Houston. Jääskeläinen over point per game. He had a really good round. 11 points in 10 games. Pasquale's been really good as well. 8 assists through 10 games. Burns, 4 points. Burns has been pretty quiet, considering he's a second-line center and Pasquale's a third-line center. You would never guess that Burns is the second-line center almost out of the two of them. Zubov 1 assist, Tursenbaev 1 assist. Ferraro in 4 games has only 2 penalty minutes, and he's an even 0. So he's been better defensively in the playoffs than I believe Zubov was. Yeah, Zubov was a -2, so maybe that line change actually helped us out a little bit. Forster 9 points is really good for a third liner as well. Thornton 8 points, Morales 5, Seidu 4 points only. So our top 6 is still kind of struggling a little bit. There's some guys that have broken out like Thornton and Jääskeläinen, but guys like Seidu and Burns and Morales, they've been pretty quiet. And our third line has just been amazing with Forster. And no points so far from Sidor, which is kind of problematic, but he's a fourth liner. He doesn't get a lot of ice time, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah, he only gets 8 minutes a game, so I will take it, I guess. Korostin 8 points and Kapitanov 8 points. So yeah, there's definitely guys in the top 6 that are helping us out. But it seems like right now the third line is still our best line, which is kind of weird. Defensively, Tertukin's been really good so far, 10 points in 10 games. Love to see that, considering we still have him locked up for another 4 years after this. Kind of wish I locked him up for 8 years, but I don't remember if I did or not. Maybe I did lock him up for 8 years, and his contract is kind of winding down really fast. Yip 5 points, Hedman 3 points, Roach 2 points, Sedin 1 goal only, and Afinasenkov 1 assist, but he's a +7. Love to see that. Didn't expect him to be a +7, but our defensive core has been pretty good at picking up points and also being plus. Goalie-wise, Soderstrom has been amazing so far. He's got a .930 save percentage in 9 games, at 2.28 goals against as well, and 1 shutout. And then Jansson's also been pretty solid when he's been called upon, which is really nice. So if we end up winning the Stanley Cup, I feel like Evan Soderstrom would get a lot of statistical growth and then demand a lot of money, which is kind of problematic because he's a UFA after this year, which is not good. So anyways, that's our player stats. Let's take a quick look at the Chicago Blackhawks, how they did during the regular season and in the playoffs so far, and then we'll take a look at their lines just because I want to leave it to the end of the episode. So as you can see, they were the worst team that made the playoffs in our division, which is kind of scary. They might be a cheese team, but they had less goals scored than us per game. They had a better goals against, so they're better defensively, probably because they still have Shesterkin, I would assume. And then power play percentage wise, we were better than them during the regular season, and they were better than us on the penalty kill a little bit. So they're a better defensive team, we're a better offensive team. Should be interesting to definitely see who ends up winning this conference finals and going to the cup finals. Let's take a look at the team stats in the playoffs as well, just because I'm kind of curious on that front, on how they've done during the playoffs. So Houston, for us, we're scoring 3.2. Chicago's right below us, 3.38, so they're still scoring more goals than us now. We have a better goals against, so kind of weird that they actually are allowing more goals than they've scored so far, but they've won 2 rounds. Power play percentage has been better for them as well, and their penalty kill has been worse, so we're technically kind of reversing roles. They're better offensively than us, and we're better defensively, something like that. They're 3-3 on home ice, then 5-2 on the road so far this playoff run as well. Interesting. Now let's take a look at what their lines look like, see if they went through any changes since we played them. Let me just advance a few days so we could get up to that round. But let's take a look at their lineup going into this conference finals, because last time we played them, I don't really remember who was on the roster concerning, even if it was just last season. I remember there being Shesterkin, but I don't remember anyone else. So they have Alex Newhook, Zach Dean, and Anthony Duclair. I think Duclair and stuff were still there. But that's a pretty solid first line. Second line has Tyler Bertuzzi, Morgan Frost, and Robert Thomas. Third line, Jacob Campoli, still on the third line. I think this guy was third line last year as well. And then they have Ruben Ludman, Nicholas Camano. So they don't really have the greatest depth in a sense, because Ludman and Camano are pretty weak. And then fourth line has Lawson Krause, Josh Norris, and Dustin Yoshi. So I feel like their wingers are better than their center depth, but their center depth is still pretty good if they were to move Norris up and Ludman down. Defensively, they got Timofey Koltsov. They have Seth Jones still, Caden Stajan, Jacob Larson, and in a top six pairing of Forsling and Lemieux. Their defense is interesting. I feel like we're better defensively than they are, which is kind of a weird thing. And then goalie-wise, yep, they still have Igor Shesterkin at 35 years of age. And he also had still another really good season. Not as good as last year where we played them in the playoffs, but still pretty good. So far in the playoff run this year, he's not been that great. So I'm hoping that we could just light him up completely. But then again, that might be unrealistic. He might just have a really good round here in the conference finals. Hopefully that's not the case. And their backup is 68 in Ryopel, who's medium elite. Interesting. And he's also been really good when he's been called upon, apparently. Depth-wise, they have Nathan Bastian and Gaspard Lalonde, who is a low top six. Interesting. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Houston Sharpshooters Draft to Glory. So in next episode, we will take it to the conference finals against the 42-35-5 Chicago Blackhawks as we look to get to the Stanley Cup finals for the very first time against either Buffalo or Toronto. After what started off as a really terrible season, we are getting close to being a Cup contending team in the Cup final. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.